friends. How are you? Welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome back to my channel, The Flavorful Home. If you're new, hi, how are you? I hope you'll come and visit often. There's always something good going on in The Flavorful Home. Today, I have a canning video. I haven't done a canning video in a while. This one is a good one. I am canning roast pork in spicy broth. It's in the all new Ball Book of Canning. It's on page 297. In my video of what I will or won't can again, and I'll put a card up in the corner so you can reference that, meats are not big on my list of canning, but pork is. And this is a pork butt, boneless pork butt, 3 pounds. And it's par cooked. You roast it in the oven. And then it's a spicy broth that it gets put into the jars with. And what I love about pork, first of all, when you can it, it becomes fall apart tender. That's number one. Number two, you have a meal in a snap. That is so good. I have made enchiladas with it. I have made taquitos with it. You can make tacos, quesadillas, poutine. For those of you who are not familiar with poutine, it's a Canadian dish, French fries with a luscious gravy on it, cheese curds. If you can't find cheese curds, just use mozzarella. You dice the cheese up, spread it onto the fries with your gravy, and shred the pork and let it all come together. Oh, what a dish that is. So I love having pork on my shelf. That is one meat I will always can. So we're going to turn you around and we're going to get busy canning pork. Come on. All right, friends, we're going to start in front of the pork butt. This still has a bone in it. The recipe calls for boneless, so I'm going to need to debone it. And this one is bone-in 8 pounds. So I am going to weigh out 3 pounds of meat. But you're going to cut your meat into about 1.5-inch cubes. Don't worry about perfection. And I'm going to slide you over to the next section. You also need 4 teaspoons of salt divided. You need ground pepper, canola oil or veggie oil, or to be honest, even olive oil, it's not going to hurt. I don't have my onion out, but it's an onion halved and then cut crosswise into thin slices. Then we have a lovely seasoning mixture. In here is 2 tablespoons, and you can see it, of dried crushed red pepper, 1.5 tablespoons of dried oregano, and I always give it a little squeeze with my fingers to release the oils. And here is 3 garlic cloves minced, and minced is finer than diced. Mince is nice and small. Now, I'm going to cut the meat and then come back and show you the size of the dice. Again, I rinsed my meat. Someone asked why. I like, especially with pork will sometimes have a film on it. I like to wash all residual blood off, and I like to have just a nice clean piece of meat that I will pat dry with a paper towel, and I'll usually, just because the water will kind of leak down. So I'm going to cut this up and then we're going to come back. Okay, so this is what 3 pounds of cut pork looks like. And this is about the size of the pieces, about 1.5 inches. Don't panic into getting out a ruler. And obviously some are thinner, so I let them be a little longer. And I did trim off a lot, but I didn't trim all of it because that fat is what lends to the flavor. Now it goes on a roasting pan. My oven has been preheating to 425. And by the way, I do have a nice chunk left that I am going to slow roast to make the poutine I was talking about, since I already have it out. All right, let's get that all on there. And you want it spread out. Again, it's not cooking all the way. I'm going to cut that one again. It is par cooking. That's why it's only 30 minutes. It's not going to fall apart tender. That the pressure canner is going to do, so that you don't have to worry about, oh, is this going to be nice and easy to shred? It most certainly is going to be nice and easy to shred. It is amazing when it comes out of your jar. I keep hitting you, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to rinse my hands and we're going to put salt and pepper. I'm also going to do a little drizzle, and I'm using olive oil. It's not going to hurt. Just a little drizzle. And we will do our fresh cracked pepper. Okay, sprinkle of salt. And while this is baking, I will then cook or bring my broth to a simmer. And we will come back and be ready to can. Alrighty, folks, see you in a bit. Alrighty, very quickly, I want to show you my broth is going in, and this is going to simmer for 15 minutes. In goes the broth. Here's my onion. I'll show you how it's sliced. There goes my onion and my garlic. My spicy seasoning. I'm going to do just a little bit of fresh crack pepper here. I don't know that I'm going to add salt, because even though it was low sodium, I have to can more stock. I didn't have any stock, so I had to use my bouillon to make my broth. Simmer for 15. I'm going to cover it because I do not want to lose any of this. I just combine it. Let me get my spoon so I can see how it seems for salt. just a bit. The recipe, and salt is something you don't have to add. It can be left out. The recipe said a tablespoon. But salt is most certainly something to your liking. It doesn't affect the canning process. Alrighty, we're gonna let this go, and we will come back when everything is ready to be canned up. See you in a bit. Alrighty, folks, we're ready to go. I have my broth to my left. I have my cubed pork to the right. I have my, can you believe I can't remember what it's called? Funnel, and my debubbler and measurer right here. I have my lids here. I keep my jars in a sink filled with hot water. The book says fill halfway with your pork. It does say you should get 6 pints. That remains to be seen. Sometimes you get a little more, sometimes you get a little less. Okay. I think it's 6 pints or 3 quarts. I don't really do quarts because I don't see a need to do quarts. I'd rather just open an extra jar if it's necessary. Okay, and your 1-inch headspace. So put my funnel. One inch is the first rimmed line. Hold on one second. I want to see if how it says to put the broth. Yeah, ladle broth mixture. Okay. I wanted to make sure it's okay if everything is in there. Okay, that's the first one. And then this one. It smells so good. Oop. It's breezy, so it just shut my back door, the wind. Or as my kids would say, the ghost. Because I live in a 100-year-old house, my kids are convinced there's ghosts. Okay, and you really want to get it all debubbled, go around. I think I'm going to put just a couple of pieces in each one. And I like my meat covered, so I'm going to make sure that I have that broth in there because I don't want the air, and that's beautiful. Oh, that's my yogi. Hold on. Come on in, bud. This is also your measurer. So, beautiful. Beautiful. This one actually has a little bit more broth. Good, good, good. I'm going to debubble again because I get a little fanatical. And then you're going to do around town with your vinegar. Remember I said I bought a little pump jar that's supposed to be for nail polish remover. I love it for the vinegar so I don't have to lug. It just takes a few pumps to get going. And I probably should have primed this before. Sorry, folks, I don't know why it's not working, so I'm just going to open it and turn it, and we'll figure that out after. And you just go around your rim. You want it nice and clean so that there is no oils or juice or anything that's going to prevent, see how that's coming off? You don't want to prevent a seal. So give a good wipe around and you can feel the squeaky goodness. And then you put your lid. I always have a couple of extra jars because you just don't know if you're going to get more. So I'd rather be prepared than not. Okay, get that off. And it's fingertip tight, always fingertip tight, which you're just going around, and then you just give a little twist. Same thing. I have the Presto canner. I'm going to put these in. And because I'm over 1,000 feet, my processing time, my processing weight is 15 pounds of pressure because of my height or altitude or whatever the word is you want to use. We'll do 2 more. Like I said, I keep my jars hot. And I like to hand wash my jars because I like being able to examine them as I'm washing them. I could run my hands around the rim. Okay. Get my funnel. To make sure there's no nicks or cracks. That looks good. Okay. Now we do our broth. Okay. You will be pleased having this on your pantry shelf. It's just nice to have something that could get you a quick meal, and this does that. One more, and then I will debubble. You go around. That's definitely going to need a little more juice, I think. I might put 1 or 2. Yep, that's going to 2. I'm just going to add another one there. Another one there. Let me measure. Let me use my tool to see. Oh no, it's actually good. Yeah. And there we go. Next time I will make sure I have it primed. You just go around the rim nice. Feels wonderful. And you put your lids on. I keep them in hot water. Just so that the rubber gets a little bit of a head start. I have not had any issue yet with my lids, which have all been ball lids. I have not tried any other brands yet. That doesn't mean I won't, but I have them and I haven't had any problem, thank goodness, because you don't want to go through all this work and you tip tight and then have it go kaput. Okay, these are going to go in and I'm going to finish up and we'll come back when sometimes the stars align, and I got exactly what the recipe said you'd get, 6 pints. So I'm going to bring this up to temperature. It has to get the lid on. Let's do that so you can see. I always check my lid. Most importantly, I check my my vent hole, which is here. I make sure it's clear, that there's no obstructions, and I could see right through it. And I always check my gasket, which I did already. And now we'll put this on. Now I'll just tell you, I don't any longer go by my, I don't use my, my dial anymore, because I just find, and now it's on, it kind of seals itself when you turn it. I'm going to pump that gas up because it has to be high. I don't go by the weighted, the dial anymore. I put my weighted canner, which is this little puppy. And like I said, I need 15 pounds of pressure because of I'm above 1,000 feet. And when it's time to, once this is steaming, 10-minute vent, and then on goes your jiggler. Okay, we'll be back when that's ready. It is, I don't know that you can see it, but it is starting to vent. The steam is coming up. I wish I had a way to show it. I don't know that the black pot holder will show the steam. Nah, I don't think you can see it. But I am going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And then when 10 minutes is done, my jiggler will go on. As you could see back here, the lock hasn't come up yet, but it will. Can you hear it? Okay, we will come back and we're gonna put on the jiggler. And there we go, folks. The jiggler is starting to do the hula. I usually will adjust my flame so that it stays a steady jiggle. And even though I don't use it anymore, you can send your gauge to Presto to be checked. Now that I have the jiggler, there's no need for it, but it's jiggling and my gauge is at 15. So even though this gauge has been, I've had this for 2 years now, it is still on the money. If this wasn't moving, you'd know that was off. So now, an hour and 15 minutes, and we'll be back when we're going to take everything out. Alrighty, friends, we are finished, and it looks good in there. So I'm going to place you here, and we are going to pull the cans out. It was an hour and 15 minutes at 15 pounds of pressure to go with my what is that called again? I'm over 1,000 feet of yes. How do you like the fact that my brain doesn't work and I can't remember what that's called? Above sea level, but there's another word for it. Oh my word. By the way, I forgot to pour vinegar into my canner, and that's the result. It doesn't do anything. Your jaws just come out with that ring on it, which when I wash it will come off. And like I said, I got the 6, which is good. And you don't touch them, you just leave them there for 12 to 24 hours. Don't mess with the tops. Some people get nervous because the tops, whoop, there you go. I love that sound. Some people get nervous because the tops get loose when they're in the canner. Don't worry about that. Let them sit. After 12 to 24 hours, look at those puppies going. Can you see those bubbles? I give them a nice warm bath. I'll scrub all this off. That doesn't bother me. But this is a delicious addition to your pantry shelf. And you want air to circulate. You don't want to draft, but you do want air to circulate around them. All right. That looks good. Smells good too. After I'm done and I wash my canner, I like to just keep it on the stove for a few hours. Even though I towel dried it, I like it to air dry, and then I put it back in the box that it came in so that it's protected, no dings, dents, or anything. Okay, friends, I hope you enjoyed that canning video. I haven't done one in a while. To be honest, I haven't pressure canned in quite a while. I've done water bath, but I haven't done any pressure canning in a bit. So this was nice to get the pork back on my shelf. Next up, I need to make more broth, which every time I cut up a chicken, I save the carcass. I have a few backs in my freezer, and I will put them into I have one of those electric roasting pans, and I will just let that go for 24, maybe 36 hours. And then I will pressure can my chicken broth or stock, whatever you want to call it. Remember, water bath canning will be jellies, jams, fruit items. Pressure canning is meats, beans, broths, vegetables. So you have to know the difference. Don't be afraid of it. Do not be afraid to can. It is such an awesome, awesome art. And the science behind it is wonderful. It instructs you, it's safe. Botulism happens so rarely, and I am a by the book canner. You will never see me rebel can here. I just can't do it. It's not in me. If you rebel can, more power to you. Your kitchen, your rules. But if you're new and you're trying to get your feet under you, know that you will always On this channel, we'll always see and find safe canning practices. Alrighty, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, share it. Until next time, go create something wonderful. Bye-bye now.